Good morning.
How are you?
Okay, how are you doing?
Oh, we are good. Thanks a lot.
Good morning. I'm going to be off camera because I'm a little under the weather this week.
Okay, I hope you recover. It's
Thank
basically
you so much.
really I hope a speedy recovery comes your way.
Thank you. It's that time of year. I know Taylor is also been a little sick this week
Yeah,
as
yeah.
well. So
I also teach online this semester, and the one thing I love about it is no one gets to infect anyone. That's kind of the area. But I understand it when people are feeling really bad. I require everybody to have their cameras on, and but the only people that get excuses is if they're ill. We say we appreciate you joining despite being ill. So the same to you.
thank you.
Okay. So thank you so much for arranging this meeting. I'm really
Yeah, you're
interested to
welcome.
hear what you're doing. We're such a big organization that sometimes we don't know what's happening on the other side.
Yeah, certainly. Nice to meet you, Dr. Rushnek. I
You
was
can call
very
me
curious.
Sarah. It's fine.
Okay, thank you. Will do. Yeah, but it's nice to meet you. I'll just kind of do a quick introduction. I'm Taylor Barnes, kind of I've managed the University of Miami account for a couple of months now. It is a newer account for me here at Audio Code, so I am starting to get to know Giuliano and Armando and those folks in the IT department.
Okay.
Um, we're actually going to be at a Microsoft event with them here in a couple of weeks in Kissimmee,
Oh, in Kissimmee. What kind
where,
of event is it?
yeah, it's just a higher ed conference that Microsoft's hosting for just kind of to create that community of higher ed customers that can come and learn from each other and do be a part of some presentations as to what's new with Microsoft,
And
etc.
you're going to be there too.
Yes. So we're gonna be there. I'm gonna meet Armando. I think we're gonna go out afterwards and kind of just have a meal and talk a little bit about the future of University of Miami and kind of the path and some things. I'm looking forward to it because, like I said, it's kind of a newer account for me. Boris, however, he's my engineer. He's kind of been more involved for a longer term kind
Uh
of
huh.
amount of time, so he understands the history of where
Okay.
you
So
guys are coming from.
Taylor, you're in sales. Is that what I can
Yes, ma'am.
understand? And Boris is
Yes, ma'am.
you're the not the troublemaker, but the troubleshooter. Is that it?
Oh, that's exactly right.
See how I
Yeah.
got it right? Yeah.
Um, so we're we're looking forward to doing that, and then I saw that you were going to be at Enterprise Connect
Yeah, I
here
I
in
haven't received. It's not that were you going to send me an invitation or how's that work?
I was going to send you an invitation. We haven't released them just yet, so you
Oh,
should
okay,
expect
but
that
I'll
early
be
next
able.
week.
Yeah, I
Yes.
think that'll be since we have limited time here. It'll be. I'll have more time to see. I also wear many different hats. Let me just give you a little bit background about myself. I'm a professor of business technology in the School of Business. I'm also in a number of committees on the Computer Advisory Committee, where we talk about different technologies. And I also do health informatics. So, on the medical school side, I help physicians and other researchers help also bring their research to product. And I'm also the technical advisor of the city of Coral Gables. University of Miami, I don't know if you folks know, the University of Miami is located in a suburbs of Miami called Coral Gables. It's one of the richer cities in the country, and the head of the city of Coral Gables, not only their IT director, their CIO, is also basically a chief innovation officer, where we are starving to be a smart city. So I'm their technical advisor, helping them figure out what type of hardware, software kind of will get them in the future. So, for instance, one year I went with them, they had a booth in the Consumer Electronics Show in Las Vegas, and I helped them basically set up a new product that has a smart pole. So it was from Germany, and they hadn't even had any sales in the U.S. So they presented a smart pole that would check, and then we've set it up in the downtown Coral Gables, and it will then check for weather, it will check for traffic, analytics, and things like that. So I'm helping. So besides the University of Miami, I don't know if you folks are I need to speak with. It'd be interesting to introduce you to those folks as well. Maybe we can have a meeting with them because they're really, they're a smaller organization where sometimes it's easier, to get in and make decisions, and we can talk with the decision maker. So I don't know if you'd be interested in it. I think they need to hear about your products as well, and maybe how you can solve. Pardon?
It would definitely be something if you've got those connections, it would definitely be a conversation we're interested to have with that city government. It probably wouldn't. Well, I don't want to say it probably. I can't promise that it would be me.
No, yeah, I know, but I'm just saying with your
Yeah.
company, I've been familiar with your company for many years, and I've seen them.
So on that note, so let's definitely make that a to-do from the list is to get us introduced to them, and I'll find the right salesperson that can
Yeah,
speak to them
and I don't know who you
about
need
the
is, and we'll definitely need. I don't know if it's Boris or one of your other
yeah,
engineers.
we'll get an engineer assigned with
Yeah,
for
assign with us.
for
That at least we can
for us.
think about what problems you could probably deal with to solve it, because that's really what it is, right? Problems and finding
Sure.
solutions.
Yes, ma'am. So yeah, we'll make that a to-do list to do. If you can start with just an email introduction with the folks at the Coral Gables that would be relevant for that conversation, I'll take it from there.
Yeah,
Um,
well, I think first maybe I have to kind of figure out with them. They're kind of having me as their guide. First I
okay.
got to figure out, what problems that you can solve, because I'm not familiar with your new products. So I got
Okay.
to before we make those. That's what they have me for in terms of just of the introduction. You know how it is. These people are being overwhelmed with many products, and that's they want to tie it down to what problem can we solve. You know.
Definitely understand that. So I'm gonna put something. Well, no, maybe I'll just screen share here. And
Okay.
while I do that, Sarah, I would be very curious to kind of know. Are you looking to learn more about how it would fit into the city of Coral Gables? I mean, it'll apply to both. But
Both.
is
Both.
there a specific initiative that the University of Miami has that you're looking into as far as researching, or what?
Also, I'm
How?
researching in the area. My research is in the area of, and I also, just so you know, I consult with a number of other companies, from startups to Fortune 500. So I'm using this opportunity to see where your company kind of fits in.
Okay.
So maybe this is interesting. Of where you fit into these, where I can see that. Also, I was thinking about telephony, and people have talked about even as small call centers, and
Mm-hmm.
also even reaching out to, I've been asked many times, reaching out to alumni, and reducing that process of just cold calling and having them come back. So maybe you
Yeah.
can.
Well, let me do this. I'm gonna go through a couple of things. I don't want to make this a presentation. I'd rather just kind of be more interactive. But as far as
Yeah, but
kind of
I think a
logical,
little bit of the presentation is good in the part that I can kind of
yes,
see where it fits in, because I haven't kept up in what the latest is. I've kept up, a few years back, and especially with the advance of voice. Especially, I'm interested in the voice AI. I have a number of companies, and the city of Coral Gables, and also in some of the other departments, about that voice AI. So if you can
okay.
focus
So
in on
as
that.
far as yeah, we can do that, and I want to make sure that I'm being respectful of Zlata's time too. And she may want to sit here for this because she already knows all about it. Her main job is kind of the marketing kind of thing. So I wanted to ask very quickly, and let's just kind of talk about this for a moment, and then I'll move into what we were just talking about. You mentioned kind of a speaking engagement.
Yeah,
what that actually looks like.
Okay. For instance, I'll give you an example. I'm requested basically to do a number of speaking engagements. You know, some are a keynote with myself, and others are setting up panels. So, for instance, from a couple weeks ago, it was in a conference in Fort Lauderdale where I had a panel, and I'll ask if it's, for instance, AI voice. I'd like to have not only myself, because many times what the audience is they want to buy something. And I said, you know, that's not my role. I'm not selling anything. Basically, I'm using it as advice. So I'll have people like coming in from your audio codes or others giving their input, giving their impressions, giving what's happening on the ground. And then later on, they know that those companies that are on stage with me, I've thoroughly investigated it and I stand behind them, but I make sure to let them know that I have no fiduciary interest in this, you know, but it's my objective person. And if they want to pursue, many times they say, oh, we'd like you to help us in buying that, you know, or installing it. I leave it to them. So there are a number of different parts. And also I teach in the university a number of seminars where I have guest speakers coming in, and sometimes what I'll have is it'll be executive MBAs, or it will even be undergraduates in business that are interested in these topics, that possibly maybe you are even interested in internships from some of these folks that are doing. And then I do other ones where it's in health informatics, where I have physicians come in and then they work on projects with computer science and finance people together. So I do a number of, when I was talking to Zlata, I do a number of speaking engagements with those. So Zlata, what we had is, the last time I had it was in Fort Lauderdale, and by the time it's finished, that session has passed. But I may be doing something in Las Vegas and in other places, and I just kind of have a group of people that I turn to, and usually it's part of either a panelist or like a 15-20 minute, depending on it. And it's many times it's my teaching is online, so it's easy to come into. And you know, I have a teaching schedule where it starts around 3:30, and as a matter of fact, I've had people from Israel and other countries, you know, they can make that, you know, it's a little bit later, sometimes at noon or something. So I've had people from around the world join in. And next month, I'm having a person from England come in. It's called Fastbot. I have an academic partnership with them. They do chatbots, and they're allowing our students to use their product, their premier version, to upgrade, and they're coming in. And as a matter of fact, I'm having the CIO from Coral Gables, he'll be joining in to see that they were looking for some kind of Fastbot there. So maybe even at that section, you guys could come in. I think it's...
Sarah, this actually sounds very interesting. We
Yeah.
don't actually do speaking sessions at universities. It's just not something that we've
Okay.
done in the past. It's not to say that we wouldn't do it, you know, in the future.
Okay.
I would say that there's probably a little bit more interest in some of the events that you attend, or if they're...
Yeah, sure. Well, just so you know, you can jot it down. April 7th, Zlata, what I'm having someone from Fastbot, the CEO, and the innovative officer from the city of Coral Gables. They're going to be talking about chatbots, and they'll be coming into my class. But I understand that everybody has limited resources. So, you know, if that doesn't fit, so it's not necessarily, you may want to think about that, Zlata, in the way that We have also an academic partnership with a number of companies where when the students come out, especially in the area of, Gen AI and AI, is the older folks are not even familiar with it, so they take in more of their presence. But I understand that. And we can work that out. We don't have to, it's nothing said. I just thought of you. So it's
Yeah.
thought of we
No,
can.
it's definitely, thank you for coming to us with the opportunity. And I
Yeah,
think
but
we
I'm
can
just saying,
definitely
if
work through it.
when it fits your schedule and fits mine, don't feel like you pressure in any sense of it. So I
No,
just,
not at all. I think it would be best if maybe you give me an update, maybe if you send me an email with some of the dates you have and the
yeah, and then you
topics
can see where it fits
that are
in.
being addressed. Yeah, and I can see, I can check in internally if this is something that we, have the resources
Yeah,
for,
right. And then
even
you
if
can
it's
think
just
about
for,
it as well that some of it when it's online, it doesn't take a lot of, you know what I mean, if it's a 20-minute kind of thing or half hour. But you decide. You know what I mean?
okay. No,
We have
definitely.
enough.
I
Okay.
appreciate you bringing this forward to us.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
throwing us
Great.
into new ideas. So,
Yes, it may be
all right.
something else. Now, things are changing so much, Zlata, that sometimes
Exactly.
we have to move, at record speed. And some things you can try out and you say, hey, this really didn't work, and it doesn't cost you much to say, hey, best practices. Maybe later on we'll
No,
do it. So
definitely.
feel free.
Okay. So I'll pass this back over to Taylor.
Yeah.
Sarah, you and I can connect separately, and then I will also send you that invitation as well. Make sure to include you on those emails once they
Oh,
go
I
out next week.
appreciate it. Yeah,
All
because I
right.
think
And I,
that way we can. I think a lot of you will be in Orlando,
yeah,
since this call is limited. I'll have more time to figure out what you're doing and discuss it with you in
yeah,
detail. And in person, it'll
and
be
we can
wonderful.
talk more. Yeah, we
Yes.
can talk more in person because
Yeah.
I will be there. So I look
Good.
forward
Good.
to
Great,
seeing you
Zada.
there.
And then I can hear from you as well. Thanks.
Okay, sounds good. All right.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Enjoy.
Thanks a lot.
Okay. All right,
Bye.
Taylor.
All right, so yeah, we'll do as best we can with the 10 or so minutes we
Yeah.
have left for sure to talk about things. But what I wanted to make sure I started with, Sarah, is you keep referring to how fast things are changing,
Yeah.
and you're absolutely right. So this is kind of we show this to a lot of our folks and a lot of our customers to just kind of show our development over the years. And audio codes traditionally has a very tough time convincing our existing customer base that we're no longer just a hardware SBC and a media pack company.
That's how I know
Um,
you from. Right.
yeah, we do those things, and we'll never stop doing those things until there's no need for it anymore.
Yeah.
But that, by all means, is not our bread. It is our bread and butter, but it's not what we want
Yeah.
to
In the
be
future. Okay.
It's not what we want to be known for.
Yeah.
Um, in all honesty, not to make a joke of it or anything, we should probably rebrand our name because we're so much more than just audio.
Yeah. Right. Right. Well, you probably should, but in that
But
case, you'll lose it or add an additional.
brand
You know,
recognition.
Zoom took out the word video in their name. Did you know that?
Yeah,
Because they don't want to
I
be
mean,
just known
that's all right.
for Zoom conference
Yeah,
calls. So,
exactly.
okay. So,
So in the essence of trying to be kind of brief and to just kind of help you kind of understand our progression, I think this slide does a good job of visually representing our growth over the past couple of decades in terms of okay, we learned that the industry expects us to make phones, so we manufacture phones, but
yeah.
big deal, right? Everybody's got a phone on the desk, and in all honesty, if you're doing it correctly, you don't even really need the phone on your desk
Right.
anymore. But sometimes our customers will have a need for a phone in the manufacturing industry and warehouses where they have to and then some humans, you'll never be able to change their mindset that they just need to have a phone, even though that's not actually true.
Yeah.
So, you kind of grow outside of those devices and things like that. You start to see abbreviations like OVOC over here,
Mhm.
OVOC, and that stands for One Voice Operations Center, and it's a graduated, more mature example of Teams Admin Center,
Mhm.
for lack of better words.
Okay.
It is a one single pane of glass that'll allow you to kind of dig in and see quality of experience to your. And Boris is going to come over the top of me and be much more eloquent in the way that he explains these things.
Okay.
But
Great.
it's a single pane of glass into quality experience, whether it relates to any of your hardware, your SBCs, your media packs, your endpoints like your phones, and you can manage those devices from OVOC.
Mhm.
Um, so Boris, I can keep going. Oh, yeah, okay. I'm going to keep going. So that allows those users to have a more friendly experience because Teams Admin Center can only do so much, and they know that. they they know that it's just providing the bare minimum for Teams native devices to be able to manage push firmware updates. It's, universities love it, Sarah, because you guys have so many buildings on campus, and an IT department doesn't want to have to go if they don't need to, or maybe satellite locations, right, outside of
Mm-hmm.
campus. But it's very inconvenient, especially when people are short-staffed as they are, to have to physically drive around and do firmware updates on phones and devices, and to maybe uh, reconfigure and not reconfigure, but point an SBC to a different direction, or maybe move some sessions from one SBC to another if you know that concurrent call paths are going to change. We have the ability to do that through OBOT. So it's a very nice product for as it relates to being able to just manage devices through a single pane of glass. I'll just uh, kind of wrap it all up with that statement. Now, where I want to make sure we have the most amount of time to speak to now is what we do with our software as a service.
Okay.
Um, we have this really awesome product that's on this call right now, and it's Meeting Insights, and it's kind of similar to Copilot, but she's different in a lot of ways, in the sense that she's using she's using AI to make a generative AI synopsis of this meeting. You've probably seen it from their last meeting with us,
Right.
where we can produce meeting notes, action items, questions,
Right.
speakers, who spoke at what time, everything that you need to know from a meeting. Might as well not even be here and pretty much be
Mm-hmm.
able to absorb everything that was completed on the meeting. Actually, that's how I learned what you guys talked about on the first call that I wasn't on, with your Meeting Insights. Um, very helpful in the higher ed kind of use cases, or training for city government. I'm just trying to think of all the things that you would kind of be relative to. It's
Uh-huh.
great when
So
you're
how
on
is
the
this
call.
different? Zoom has something of their IQ. I don't know if you're familiar with that.
I'm not.
Okay. Are you, Boris?
With the Zoom recording application.
Zoom has what they call AIQ that's built in
Okay.
for the enterprise, where they basically, Zoom has always done the transcript, but then they do the summaries, they do your tasks, the to-do list, and things like that. And then there's also, Otter and others as well. So
Firefly, probably.
yeah, but Zoom now has incorporated that into ours. So you have something similar to that, and you're incorporating it into this. Is a standalone product, or this is
This is standalone product, but it can live in. It's basically Teams based. I mean,
okay?
you
It's
can connect
Teams based. So doesn't Teams have something
Also
similar to
Zoom
that
based
as
now.
well, Boris?
Teams has just the transcription.
Oh, they're not
So
doing any summaries or any querying on that.
maybe some basic level, but not AI definitely summary. And also this product allows you again the difference between Teams, difference between this product when the Zoom when the Teams does is per per account, I will say, right? So for example, if you and me having that recording, yeah, I have access to mine, you have access to yours, but I don't have any kind of access to yours, right? In this case, this is the storage that can be shared across the company.
Mm-hmm.
Not like if you're using Copilot, for example, for Microsoft, they are looking through the entire documentation of the person itself. So if I have something in my storage, the Copilot of some other person will not be able to get to it.
So this is going to be across the. So it's almost going to be knowledge
It's
based. So we can use that as
it's
knowledge.
exactly knowledge based.
Right.
It's exactly knowledge based, everybody. And even if you are not a part of the company, I can share it with you. If you were in the meeting with me,
Right.
I
Right.
can share it with you. So you have the recording, you
Yeah.
have everything, right?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
not only recording; it also presents this in a graphical way that you can see the different colors for different people who was talking, and you can jump right to the person who was talking, or you can grab a search, look for specific word, and jump exactly to this
Mm-hmm.
word
So
again.
it's basically like all the other ones on steroids. If you think about it, it's more okay
Uh,
in a way.
more
So
than AI.
you're selling this as a separate product. That's what.
It will be yes, it is. It is
And
separate
when did
product.
you started this in 2020? Is that kind of the idea, or
We
where?
started a long time ago. Yes.
Okay, a long time, and it's called Voice.ai.
No, no, this is Mia, right? Taylor.
Mia. Yeah, this is Mia. We're gonna I
Meeting,
want to talk about voice
meeting
AI.
inside. Voice is different.
Okay, so what's the product? What's the product name of that? Meeting Insight. Okay. Okay. And then I see on that platform, I'm just looking at that last box there, Taylor and Boris. One is that Azure Media Cloud Edition. What is that?
So that's our
Pro-
software. That's our SBCs as a software instead of hardware, on-prem. That's where a lot of campuses. University of Central Florida is a good example of that. Going to the cloud is an initiative, right?
Right.
Get everything off-prem, and
right.
security concerns become a little bit of a concern. But that Media Cloud Edition is our representation of, okay, you still need an SBC, but you want to migrate everything to the cloud. We can do that.
Okay. Okay. So you're basically the service provider to help with Azure Media Cloud Edition. Am I getting that correct?
Yes and no.
What is the no part?
I'll let Boris talk about that.
No, you're right, right? You're right.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to let you talk about that, Boris. You're better at it than I am, for sure.
Okay. So basically, we do have we are started as a hardware company.
Right, I know that.
Okay. And at this point, we not only have hardware. People prefer hardware. People prefer software. We provide option for the software applications running on VMware, Azure, AWS, Hyper. It doesn't matter.
Right.
You have your SBC. You can have your SBC because SBC doesn't really require a physical connection except
right.
ongoing internet connection, right? So that's why it can run on the multiple different platforms. Okay. This is for the Azure Media Cloud Edition. It's again just the name of one of the SBC options.
Oh, okay. So that's just an example of what you would service.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
So cloud edition basically mostly it's very powerful. It supports up to 80,000 concurrent sessions, so it's basically real powerful. In most cases, carriers. Right?
Okay.
Like so, AT&T or Verizon.
Okay, so you're basically like a cloud services provider. And then what is the LMO? What does that stand for?
LMO is just the meaning of local media optimization. That's a technique in Microsoft Word how to keep the voice local, not traveling to the internet, just keep it local for the specific site.
Okay.
Again, it's just the technology. I don't know why they put it here. It's just technology.
Okay, because I wasn't. Okay.
Yeah, and I want to make sure that we at least cover everything so that you kind of do know.
And what are you doing in the conversational? Basically, also what a number of my people that I work with, and also with the university, are interested in something like that. Like 1-800-CHAT-GPT. Are you familiar with that, Taylor or Boris? What? Yeah, but do you know that you can call on your phone 1-800-CHAT-GPT, Boris? Yeah. So if you take your, this is what they did in a hackathon. Basically, they took, there's also other ones called Annie and things like that. You can take your phone and dial 1-800-CHAT-GPT, and you don't even need a mobile phone. You can even need, Boris, it's a regular POTS line, that you can do. But one of the things that they wanted, are you familiar with VAPI? VAPI? Boris?
No, I'm not.
Okay, Voice API, and they're a new company. It's kind of interesting. You may want to look at them. They're a new company that's a startup in San Francisco that I'm working with too. And basically, you can set up, based on the model, your own chatbot, and then they give you phone numbers, and you can then put in your own documents and have it basically, that chatbot, to learn about your own company and your own documentations, and then people can call those phone numbers and chat with them and get the.
Yeah, it's nothing new about this.
Yeah, right.
It's just the agent that can.
Right. But do you have something similar to that, or?
No.
Or part of it? What are you providing then in that space?
We are in the middle in this case, right?
Okay, that's where I want to know where you are. Good.
Yes, Woka. Do you have a presentation for Woka? Or no? Not Woka, but Voice AI Connect, Taylor, anything like that will show what is connected in Voice AI Connect work and.
Not on the tip of my fingertips, quick enough to show it.
Okay, so let me just go through
Yeah.
this quickly. So Woka is basically the
Is that that iVoca that I see right there or no?
Yes, it's not I just the VOCA. Okay, so VOCA.
Yeah,
So
I see
this is
that.
basically the IVR. It's a contact center, light contact center theory that is native to Teams, certified with Microsoft,
Okay.
and sitting in Azure. Okay, it's using web
Okay.
communication services to interconnect between different parts under the Microsoft world, right? So
Right.
it's why I said it's contact center light because we do not charge exactly the same as all bigger companies charge per agent. We charge just per session, not the session. So
Uh-huh.
conversational session or the TMS session doesn't matter. It has graphical interface to configure your IVRs if you want to. This is what Walker in every any Teams user basically can become an agent if it's needed. Okay. So
Okay.
this is basically what Walker is. Voice AI Connect on the left side, you see Voice AI Connect.
Yeah.
It's basically the platform that allows you to connect multiple type of applications like text to speech or speech to text,
Okay.
translation. Okay, so everything based in AWS, based in Azure doesn't matter. It can connect you to bots. It can connect you to real PC and virtual PC. So basically, it's a platform when you have multiple options to connect to.
And this is
Bots,
hardware or just software?
software.
Okay, so
Software,
all
that's
of this
software.
now is software that you're talking about. Okay.
Yes, that's software, exactly.
Okay.
So if you go right, we talked about meeting assistant meeting inside. This is basically what we just talked about. This is
Yeah.
the application we are using right now to record our voice and
Right.
put some AI on top of it, just provide the information
Uh-huh.
and just bullet points what happened, right? SmartTalk is a recording application that lives in Teams as well.
Oh, it lives
Okay,
in.
so you can choose what you want to record, or use all calls, not all calls, just the user. So it's basically also based application, not
And when it says
uh,
compliance, recording is also HIPAA compliant or
I
no?
don't remember if it's.
No. Well, what do you
Yes,
mean
it
by
is as well.
compliance recording then? Is that through
Uh,
the legal kind of?
It's just called recording, Sarah. That's all it is. It's just recording the call, and then we've actually rebranded that to be called Interaction Insights, meaning that
Okay.
if somebody
So is
wants
that
to,
the one that you talk about, the insights? That's meeting assistance or that's smart tap?
no, this meeting assistant.
It's meeting assistant. Okay.
Mia is meeting assistant meeting inside, but what Taylor mentioned, SmartTap has been renamed as well. Interactive. What is interactive? What?
Insights.
Interactive
But
insights.
the reason behind that is because there's more AI features within the recording feature. So they want to call it insights. They want to
Mm-hmm.
call it. It's more insightful as to what was recorded on the call. There's sentiment
Mm-hmm.
analysis. It tells you whether the customer on the end of the phone line was happy or their service
Yeah,
was
yeah. I've seen a lot of those. Yeah.
Yeah.
Even
I apologize, but we need to jump to another
yeah,
one.
I know.
I'm
Okay,
sorry to
so we got
interrupt.
a lot. I think what we need to do, Boris, are you going to be in Orlando too?
Yep.
So I think we need to spend time, figuring
Yeah,
all this out.
we
You
can
know what I
show
mean?
you. Yeah, we can show you.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's what I
Yeah, we
need.
can
All
show you
these,
like.
all these, all these slides. Like I tell everyone, is the, I need to see it. You know what I mean?
Yes. Yeah. Definitely. So we
Okay,
can
so
show you.
we'll
We will.
we'll talk about it, and I appreciate. Well, at least we got the first connection, and hopefully, I think, I wasn't sure if I was going to go to Orlando or not. But I think that it may be worthwhile just for to see in action, and you'll have this to show me.
Yeah, we'll be able to
We
demo
will show
Yeah,
you all
things in our booth.
applications how it works.
yeah, I think
Yeah,
that's
point
what
you
I
out a
need to
booth.
see, and especially this is the area that I need to see. Of a number of the folks that I deal with in their applications in this
Sure.
I guess the right hand part of this screen on the intelligent
Okay.
assistant and the meeting assistant, I think, and maybe
Yep.
even
Thank you,
that
Sarah.
voice hub. Okay, thanks a lot. I appreciate it, Boris and Taylor, and hopefully we can see it, and then I can see your insight, and maybe one time I can do. Let me just ask you one more question. If a lot of my people I work with are using Zoom. Can this also work with Zoom or your only Teams?
Some of them can. That's a much
Some of
longer
them can.
conversation.
Okay, all right. Okay,
Some
but
will
that's your
some of it
focus
can, some of it
is
cannot.
to be add on. Can I say that your focus is to be add on of teams?
Not only Teams, no. We are
Okay.
working multiple products working with Zoom too. Again, we are on the way, on the roadmap. Something that doesn't work with Zoom, we'll do. We'll do
Oh,
this
okay,
one.
you can see it, but that's your direction is really. You may even want to talk to your folks there, yeah, on doing it. This was insightful for me because I remember you on the left hand side. You know.
Great, great. I'm glad we could help. We'll talk to
Okay.
you soon.
All right. Ciao, ciao.
Take care.
Bye. Take care. Okay. So they left me here. 37 minutes. Leave.